Hello! As many of you know, my regular job is a florist. Some of you have asked for some tips on flower arranging, so I thought it would be fun to build a still life together today. When Gavin and I were in Boston a few months ago, we saw the Rochelle Rouge exhibit. I was super inspired. Seeing the paintings really made me want to paint again. I feel like I always want to paint, but I never make the time to. But this will be a fun artistic exercise. And today we are going to be making a still life inspired by the Dutch painter Rochelle Rouge. Rochelle
Rouge.
Oh gosh, I was saying that really wrong. I've been working a few weddings the last couple days, and I've gotten a lot of leftover flowers that I got to take home from the weddings. So we're gonna be using these guys. I'll look outside to see if there's any like fresh flowers blooming. I don't think the daffodils are even bloomed yet. It's just a little colder out here still. Oh, I do see a couple. There's a few. Oh, and the muscari is sprouting. I don't think I'll pick this because it's still so fresh and pretty, and there's only one. Since I have a good amount of leftover flowers, I want the still life to be pretty big, and I have this really large floral frog. I collect vintage floral frogs. This one's made in Japan. It's like really hefty. So I just needed to find a vessel that can contain it. And this bowl my friend Austin made, and it was in his giveaway pile, his reject pile. So I took it home. And I think the vessel will be mostly hidden, so it doesn't matter so much what the vessel looks like. But I just needed something that this could fit into. This is kind of gunked up, but this is putty that we use to like stick things down, like floral frogs. So I'll just stick some putty to 3 sides of the vessel, just enough to hold it in place, like so. And then I'm gonna go ahead and stick it in here. And then just kind of press it a little bit. Yeah, now there's no wiggling. Everything will be very secure. Look at that. Now fill this with water. I have photographed some flower arrangements in my house already before, and I have found that the best spot is next to the doors to the greenhouse. So I've laid out my flowers here. Sorry, the heat just turned on. It's really loud. These paintings have a really high contrast, so the flowers stand out and the background is always very dark. So to accomplish that, I'm using this dark green wool blanket that I have, and this won't really reflect the light at all, so the light will get like sunken in the background and it will bounce off the flowers, so it'll have a really good lighting contrast foreground background. And I'm going to use binder clips to hang this up. And I like a little bit of texture, so I'll leave some of the lines of the fabric. I won't pull it tight. That way if the light does reflect off the blanket, it has some interesting things going on. All right, this is going to be my main inspiration for like shape. I'm going to be looking at her paintings as I work, just to kind of get a little inspo. The flowers are mostly going to be like stacked up on top of each other with their heads facing forward or drooping down. These still lifes used fresher flowers and then also flowers that were fading and on their way out and all the way to dying. So I want to make it pretty tall, and I think to get the height I'm going to use the forsythia that I just clipped from outside. this guy. And the great thing about using a floral frog is you just stick it in and it stays put. And I like the idea of it having a slight curve to it, so I'm gonna give it a little bit of an angle. So that's definitely as tall as I'll go with it. And then using my other forsythia, I wanna give it some shape going this way, since this has the tallest curve. I just want it to have some volume and shape. And this kind of creates like the background. I think he can just come out over here. We got our foundation. All right, so my tulips are going to be creating more of the shape and the bulk. The yellow ones have such tall stems that are going to be the up high guys. And I'm going to leave the leaves on because they create a nice shape too. I'm just going to curl them down a little so they have some volume in the middle. I'm going to follow the shape of the forsythia. So I'm going to have this guy kind of leaning this way. And I'm using the shape of the tulip to guide where it will go. And I'm not going to keep them all at the same height. I'm going to cut them at varying heights to create interest. This one, I'm going to leave the leaf up on that for some natural movement. I think I'm going to have him kind of in the background, creating depth. When Gavin and I got to see Rochelle Rausch's exhibit in Boston, they had an activity where you could paint a still life, and Gavin and I made little watercolors. They already had still lifes with faux flowers built on the tables. It was a really fun activity, and that experience reminded me of the first still life I ever drew. I think I was in first or second grade, and I remember there was a boy across from me, and we were sharing a still life, looking at the different sides of it. And I remember this boy had a rose facing him in the still life, and he was trying his best to draw it. And at one point he got so frustrated and upset with all the layers of the petals and all the lines kind of crisscrossing. Roses are really complex flowers. Like, they are definitely very tricky, and he started crying because he couldn't draw the rose, or at least he felt like that he couldn't. I think I remember looking at what he drew and I thought like, oh, that looks fine, but I think he was a bit of a perfectionist already at such a young age. Our art teacher let him switch it out with like a daisy, I think, and I remember him showing me, he's like, look, I get to draw a daisy instead, and now my drawing is gonna be good. I don't really remember how I felt about drawing still lifes at the time. Like, I don't remember my side of the still life that I was working on, but I definitely remember his experience. And you know what I'm gonna do? Since he's so short and he's like broken, I'm gonna water tube him. We use these for installations if we need something to be like out of the regular water source, like higher up. And I'm gonna put him in here. So it's almost like he's got his own little vase. And then the forsythia is my armature to hold him steady. And I'm gonna tuck the water tube in somewhere nice and steady. And then the poppy can be up high. All right, I have one ranunculus. He needs to go somewhere prominent, and I kind of want him to be tucked back a little into the foliage of the tulips. Great, ha 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 ha. He's gonna be sticking back here. I would love it if he would open. Poppies you can kind of tease open if they're not open already, but you have to be really gentle. And you know, since he's also broken, I'm gonna try to get him into the same water tube. Let's see if I can do that. Oh yeah. Look at that. Okay, but now I need both of them to listen and obey me. So I just lost the other petals on my poppy. Dang it. That's sad. But now this guy maybe can be the star, since he is new and fresh. Sometimes if the ranunculus is broken, we wire them, like we'll put wire through it to keep them upright. I don't have any wire right now, so I just snipped it above where it was broken, And he's just gonna go deep. Yep, very good, very cute. When we were at the Rochelle Roush exhibit, we learned that after trade routes expanded in the 17th century, a lot of new types of flowers were coming through the Netherlands, and so she was using new species of plants and flowers that hadn't really been used in still lifes before or really drawn and painted. The way she incorporated bugs, insects, and like lizards was really beautiful, and it kind of showed that she cared about science and like the natural world. These types of still lifes from this time period always had a lot of symbolism in them. Each flower was a symbol. They displayed luxury items and kind of showed like earthly pleasures, but also sometimes were seen as like a warning against material things. Something I read from the Met Museum said that sometimes the types of flowers and like the rare specimens of physical flowers in the still life could cost more than the paintings of them, which is kind of mind-blowing. While I have a really deep appreciation and love for the aesthetic of Dutch still lifes, and especially Rochelle Roush, I can't help but be reminded of the fact that the Dutch East India Company was expanding trade along routes, specifically Indonesia, where my family's from, which eventually led to the colonization of Indonesia by the Dutch. And so it's quite possible that a lot of the flowers that we see in her paintings are harvested from Indonesia and shipped back to the Netherlands. This aesthetic has inspired so many in different types of art forms for hundreds of years. There's also this history of exploitation of Indonesia to get these flowers for these still lifes. By no means am I saying we shouldn't appreciate a Dutch still life. I guess when I look at a Dutch still life, I can also think about the hands that picked the flowers in a country that was being placed unwillingly into the subject of Dutch control. And it makes me thankful that 300 years later, that's not the case anymore. And I can be proud of the resilience of Indonesian people. I'm trying to figure out if I should even use this. I mean, it looks cool. It would be pretty sick. We're doing it. Sleep, 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 sleep. I wanted to open the door because the birds are singing so loud. All right, now I'm gonna photograph it because I think the lighting right now is kind of perfect. It's a little bit diffused. It's not like shining directly on here. And then maybe later in the afternoon when the sun hits it, I'll photograph it at that lighting too. I found a little ladybug in a windowsill that was already dead. So he's gonna go in here. Could be classic, could be minty. And I got these guys, which are more like an earthy green. We're gonna go classic. Sometimes I just melt the candles in, but sometimes it's nice to use stick 'em. Alright, that's all for this video. Soon I'll be getting you guys a tiles update. I'm working every week on them, but the footage doesn't feel like there's a good end point for this chunk of footage of the tiles. So that'll be coming soon though. And there's so many projects I need to do. It's so nice to make a floral arrangement for myself just for fun instead of it being a little bit like high pressure, like for a wedding. You know, people are paying so much money, so it's nice to do something that's just like, oh, I got these flowers for free and I can do whatever I want with them and I can just have fun. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
The life of Rosalind is the life for